Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with.
Nerdarchy's Ted.
And welcome back to Don't Use Goblins, instead use this monster.
Jump down in the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
Alright, so our latest request is to do a Goblin since we did the Orc. People seem to like that, right? And we have the Goblin as a small humanoid, and it's neutral evil. So we want to use that kind of a little bit of as our basis. Armor class is a 15, hit points is 7. They actually get a decent stealth check, so that takes into consideration. Nimble escape, they have that ability. Goblins can take disengage or hide action as a bonus action. So if you use goblins right, they should be moving around the battlefield a lot. They get a scimitar attack for die 6 plus 2, or a ranged attack for die 6 plus 2. They get a plus 4 to hit.
All right, so we're doing the don't use goblins, use this. Like last time, we're each gonna pick something, exact same challenge rating, and give a reason why we think we should use that instead.
Discuss it, yes.
All right, so I chose Mongrel Folk, so I'm leaving the monster manual and I'm going into Curse of Strahd, page 234. The Mongrel Folk, they can be any alignment. So if you want to have an evil group of hideous humanoids, by all means, there's no reason why you couldn't do it. Now, the reason I would say use these guys instead of the goblins, a little bit bigger, they're not in the small category, so it opens up some new options. But the versatility of creating Mongrel Folk allow for a number of different weird and special abilities. You can have things that have dark vision, that they can breathe water, they can fly, they have spider climb, they can leap, they can have 2 heads, they can duplicate sounds that they've heard. They actually have 2 attacks as opposed to the 1. They've got a lower armor class, but more than 3 times the number of hit points. So I got 11 AC, 26 hit points. I think they're pretty cool from the mechanical standpoint. The concept that I really loved was horrific offspring. It's possible to restore a Mongrel Folk to its original form using a greater restoration spell, but the same can't be said for Mongrel Folk's offspring. Only Mongrel Folk that are made by magic can be restored to their original forms. Mongrel Folk are true Mongrel Folk and not subject to the spell or an effect that can be undone. They can breed with any other humanoids, but nearly all children born by such parents are Mongrel Folk. About 1 in every 100 is born looking like a non-Mongrel Folk parent. So this opens up a wave of possibilities. You could have these guys that are literally on a quest to try and be restored. You could have an evil sect that's actually trying to breed more Mongrel Folk so that they actually become a stable population and carve out territory of their own, either by kidnapping and taking slaves, or however evil you want to take that line.
Well, this opens up for like cults and things like that. Like, I could easily see, like, what if the players basically come across this evil plot by mongrel men, right, or people that made mongrel men. I like the idea of using the mongrel men themselves, though, where they're trying to actually poison the water supply of a city. And by poison, I mean, like, they've enacted, they've created a concoction that is going to mutate people and basically turn them into Mongrel folk. Or you could go with the magic route and, like, they're trying to enact a ritual that's going to encompass the city and going to start turning people into Mongrel folk. So you could do a bunch of different things with that. And the fact that there's, you're a made Mongrel folk, or that you're born as a Mongrel folk, that does open up the possibilities. And, just by saying that there's a process that makes Mongrel folk, you're going to get a lot of different ways to use the Mongrel folk in your game. Like I said, it could be a cult, it could be a race, it could be an accident. Like, there's so many different things that could happen. Like, what if the way you use them is your players, your party comes across some kind of catastrophic event, right? That's already happened. A city has been toppled, and the only survivors are these Mongrel folk creatures. And whatever caused the city to topple actually mutated the population. So yeah, you might have some fights and some skirmishes in the beginning that might later turn into role playing, and then going, oh, how can we fix this? How can we undo this? This could start as a very low level adventure and go span the entire campaign.
And getting back to the actual design of the creatures, these are only some of the options. If there's some creature that you like out of any of the monsters, there's nothing to say that you couldn't. Well, I'm going to slap that on one of these things because that's what they do.
So I went with a Dretch, right?
And why did you go that direction?
Because I literally just wanted to use something demonic.
All right.
It's a CR quarter. It's very easy to hit. Armor class 11, but they have 18 hit points, so they got some staying power. You got to kill like 3 goblins to kill one of these guys. 2.5 maybe.
So same armor class as Mongrel Folk, but less hit points than them.
Yeah, but they have a lot of resistances.
That Mongrel Folk don't have the resistances.
They have damage resistance, cold, fire, lightning, damage immunity, poison, condition immunity, poison. Their senses, dark vision, languages, abyssal, telepathy out to 60 feet. Only works with creatures that understands abyssal. So here's the thing, right? It says only works with creatures that understand abyssal. I would change this. I would change this to they can use their telepathy. You don't know what they're saying, but I could just imagine the idea of having things whisper abyssal into your mind. That's got to be a little disconcerting, and it would be a great role-playing tool as the DM. So, one of the things is they get multi-attack. They have 2 attacks. They only get a +2 to hit, and they only do a die 6 damage. So, with their bite and with their claw attacks, they do 2d4. So they don't do a ton of damage. They're not as likely to hit as a goblin, actually. But the other thing is they do one a day. Once a day, they get a 10-foot radius of this fetid cloud. So it's basically like a cloud of poison around them they can release once a day. It's obscuring. It gives a poison effect. It could definitely make for a harder encounter. So with both the Mongrel Folk and the Dretch, one of the things considerations you might need to take in is you may not be able to use as many as you would goblins. The encounter numbers might have to be smaller because they have some other abilities that are going to make things tougher.
And the more hit points.
It's definitely the more hit points.
The goblins are going to be able to hit more often, but most of the time they're going to get one-shotted. You're gonna drop those players with 7 hit points. All right, your fighter who's swinging a long sword with a +3 to damage because he's got a 16. He's got greater than a 50% chance that he's going to knock a goblin out of the fight with 1 hit.
Right, and if he's actually a duelist, he automatically kills a goblin when he hits. So, or maybe not. Maybe he might have to roll a 2. So I guess they could survive because they have 7 hit points.
Yes.
But yeah, but still, that's definitely a consideration. So I like the idea of possibly using the Dretches in combination with cultists or maybe an evil cleric, something along those lines that maybe the players aren't going to encounter right away.
See, the thing with the Dretch is that's going to automatically ensure that there is more beyond what's there because you've got that fiendish sect going on. You've got that connection.
They got to get here somehow.
They have to get here somehow. Somebody brought them here. Somebody sent them there. What's going on? How are they doing it? Why are they doing it? And that's automatically going to have that intelligent player be like, all right, I need to know why. I got to look into this. It's prompting an investigation. It's prompting that exploration, that role playing.
They could even have a closet boss, which I kind of like that idea. So there's like a lot of room. There's a lot of room to grow an adventure out from this. Whether you're talking about this is just an encounter, or again, it could be campaign spanning if you want it to be. And that's the fun thing. Like if you really delve into D&D and the monsters, there's ways to take like even the lowliest of monster and kind of just make it, turn into a campaign spanning event that kind of pulls your players along and gets them involved in the world right from the beginning.
I mean, literally, both the devils and the demons. There's the hierarchy. You can literally just climb the ladder of what's the next one? What's the next thing I can fight? What's the next biggest monster that I can actually take out?
And so with the Dretch, like there's other things you could do too. Like, there could be like a cursed magic mirror somewhere that's just spitting out Dretches for no reason. And so like, yeah, they show up, the players have to beat them, or they have to figure out what's going on in town. Why are people being attacked by demons? And then they could figure out, well, now this there's just this mirror, right? Maybe you don't want to do the whole hierarchy of demon and cultists and clerics, but like maybe they got to go to Mordor and throw this thing in the volcano now or something.
Well, I mean, you could do the opposite. Well, perhaps and rather than taking it somewhere, you have to go get something that can break it because it's immune to normal and basic magic weapons. So now they're either carrying this thing around or they've got it secured somewhere that they have to deal with the problems, and someone's got to kill the Dretches that are coming out every day so that
right, or maybe they can find like a temporary solution, like, oh, really it's as simple as you just cover it and it closes the gateway, the portal, or oh, it just has to be kept in a lit room at all times. Don't let the lights go out. Or you can do different fun things like that. So if you just wanted a shorter campaign or shorter adventure, you could definitely use the Dretch and build that out. Or you could do campaign spanning if you want. And that is the great thing about using some of these alternate monsters instead of the goblins, because you might have a little bit more wiggle room and more versatility that way.
All right, so absolutely, I think both of those things make great alternative choices to using the goblins. What do you guys think? Do you enjoy this series? Do you have any other suggestions that you'd like us to don't use this, use that? Put in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over at Nerdarchy.com.
So until next time, stay nerdy.